Alright, so um, we're coming off the heels of Summer Game Fest and all of the shows associated with that. Um, Overall, pretty lackluster. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but it was very lackluster with only a couple good shows. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to talk about kind of the void of E3 and like what the summer used to mean versus what it means now, which is pretty bleak. But overall, what was your thoughts on Summer Game Fest and all of the shows under that umbrella, I guess?
Well, Summer Games Fest overall, like the Jeff Keighley show, I thought it was horrible. I think me and you both can agree on that.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad.
That it's just pretty much indie after indie at Summer Games Fest, and the indies didn't even look that great. What they showed, they all looked pretty bad.
Yeah, which because I complained about that on Twitter, and I had some people, oh, if you don't show generic AAA slop, like this is what people say, and so like I love indie games, like
Yeah, I do too. Indie games are great.
but like there is a quality filter even to indie games. Like not just because it's an indie game doesn't mean it's like great. I respect all of the teams that showed up to Summer Game Fest, and I'm sure they're all passionate about what they're working on. But I, as someone watching it, can say if I thought the games looked bad or not, and they did. I mean, most of the games didn't appeal to me, and that's really just what it comes down to. If the games appealed to you at Summer Game Fest, you probably like the show. But I thought most of the games looked very bad, and there was nothing there that really spoke to me. I thought the pacing of the show was pretty bad,
And I
and
think that's a problem with a lot of these Jeff Keighley shows is that the pacing's just not great.
yeah, I mean, 'cause like towards the end, it was like you're getting celebrity ads, and like Jeff Keighley has like a serious problem with celebrities. I kind of joked about this before Summer Game Fest, where like, because like I responded to someone else's tweet because they were like being sarcastic and like I can't remember what they said, but I was responding saying like, yeah, Jeff, like we need more celebrities on show. Like we need more celebrities to come out. We need more celebrities to talk about, their movies and shit and or pretend that they like games. Like that's what we need more of. And I don't know. I know Jeff does that stuff to like because it's all marketing at the end of the day, and you got to bring attention to shows, but I just really don't like when celebrities come out at game events and you clearly can tell that they don't really know what they're talking about. Or in the case of Summer Game Fest, you get like a 5 minute ad for a video game, like a mobile game that doesn't look good, but then you also have celebrities in it, and you're just like, what? Why? Like, why is this at a gaming show? Like, what is this about? And then Valorant gets like 7 minutes. It was like on stage for so fucking long,
Yeah.
and it was like, dude, this game's already out. We already know about Valorant. It's because they probably cut Jeff a big fucking check, and like, all right, we got to show Valorant. But
And all it was that it was coming to console.
yeah, like it it was just a bad show. I mean, if you want to, I've seen some people parade it and say, "Oh yeah, indies, all right." Like I get it. Like there's a lot of people that if you say something bad about an indie game, you're just labeled as like, "Oh, you only like AAA games." That's not the case. Because most AAA games I hate, to be honest with you. But like the games just didn't look that good. Like I'm going to be honest with you. Like I thought pretty much everything there looked not great. There was a couple things there that was interesting, but it was a 2 hour fucking show. 2 hours. If you're going to sit for
Yeah, it's
two fucking
way too
hours,
long.
show something that looks good. And that show didn't have anything. So, I don't know. It just, Summer Game Fest in general is just pretty lackluster. I'll say this, I appreciate that there's a gaming event in the summer that devs can bring their games to, they can have demos and booths, and it kind of fills that E3 void. But I mean, in 2020, Jeff was talking about how this was supposed to be, like he wanted to move away from E3 because obviously in 2019 he left. He didn't do the YouTube show that he usually did with E3 because like Jeff was associated with E3 for so long. But he left, and a lot of people were dogging on E3, saying that it was a thing of the past. And I get it, the prices were insane, all that shit, but there's no denying that like the hype that E3 brought back in the day,
Just something special about E3.
it was so special. It just short and condensed, a couple of days where you're going to have a bunch of shows and you're going to have a bunch of news, a bunch of new games are going to get revealed. This shit of like, because the first Summer Game Fest, I will always remember that in 2020. It was like 4 months long or something like that, and there was like an event here, an event here, an event over there. Like you had the PlayStation show in June, and then you had the Xbox show in July, and it was at the end of July, and it was like doing this shit. Like it doesn't equal fun. It's not fun to like wait 2 weeks for a show, be let down by that show, then wait another month for another show. It's just not fun. And like, yeah, like most of the shows were around the same time period this year, but most of the shows suck. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't know. It's
I,
just not what it used to be.
I just don't think that there's ever been like a Jeff Keighley show, whether it be Summer Games Fest or Game Awards, that like I've sat down and said like, okay, all together that was a great show. Like there's have been announcements at the Game Awards that has been great, but can you really sit down and say like the whole thing was great from start to finish?
No, because there's always an issue. Like, it's like last year at the Game Awards. Like, even if you thought the announcements were great, the fact that Jeff completely ignored the awards part of the show, which is kind of what the show is. It's like it's not about game reveals. It's supposed to be about the awards, but he kind of forgot that last year. He was like rushing people off stage. Jeff's not nailed a show. He's not nailed a show ever. And
Yeah, I don't think he's ever known a show either.
and don't get me wrong, I like Jeff Keighley. I think we look forward to Game Awards every year. We always watch it together. It's a jolly time. I respect what he does, but I'm just saying, if you're going to put on shows like this, I don't know what, like, because in years past at Summer Game Fest, he's tried to get big reveals. He years ago he had the first big look at Elden Ring, but like this year, that was just nothing. And I don't know if it's publishers are just getting to the point to where they don't want their game competing with stage time for another game, so they're just going to reveal their game kind of when they get the chance, and that's going to be that. But I don't know. I mean,
Some publishers have took to like the Nintendo Direct approach, and they just want to do their own thing.
they have, but there is an issue there because like not a lot of people are going to watch those, and also like a lot of companies don't have the content. I mean, even a company that has been firing on all cylinders, like Capcom, like their shows fucking sucked. Like every time they had a Capcom showcase in the past few years, I watched it and they all fucking sucked. They were horrible. And it's crazy to think about, like the fact that like even Capcom, a company that seemingly can do no wrong, like even they can't put together a showcase that is entertaining and full of exciting things. You know, right now there's two companies that have proved that they can do that, and it's Xbox and Nintendo. But that's it. Like no one else has proved that they can put together a show that's full of exciting reveals and that can be paced pretty well. Although I didn't think the Nintendo Direct was like there was a lot of filler in there, but they're the only two people that have proved like okay, we can put together a show and we can have a shit ton of announcements. And it's not surprising that it's those two companies because they have the most stuff. Like Nintendo has a seemingly infinite well of studios that are just working on things constantly. Like the Mario and Luigi RPG, everyone's like, who the fuck is even working on this? You know, like who's making this? They don't even know because they just have just an infinite well of studios that can do
Yeah, they didn't
things.
even name drop like a developer or nothing. And Alpha Dream closed down. They was the one that previously done the Mario and Luigi RPGs.
Yeah, and they've already been farting out RPGs like for the last year or so. Like they've done the super the uh have
They
they
done
done,
the Super Mario RPG remake.
and they've done the Paper Mario
Yeah,
remasters and shit.
and I think the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remaster was done by Intelligent Systems.
Yeah.
I don't know who is doing the Mario and Luigi RPG. Nintendo don't really like name drop developers and stuff like that.
But that's the thing though, is like just being honest, like those are probably the two. Like if you want exciting summer shows, it's going to be those two, because um
Yeah, because Sony don't even uh, know what that is anymore.
yeah, I mean state of plays suck. There's no other way to say it. Like state of plays are fucking horrible, and then yeah, like Nintendo's got so many IP, they've got so many studios. Same thing with Xbox, they've got so many studios now. They're really the only ones that can put together a show that's an hour, hour 30, and it can be exciting. But I just think I don't know. I think Jeff Keighley really needs to like. I mean, well, the thing is, he's going to do it. Like Summer Game Fest is going to be a thing next year. He's already announced that, but he's going to put on a show because it's just marketing. I mean, like he probably made a shit ton of money from all the, studios that paid him to have a trailer there. So like it's going to happen, but I have like no expectations. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if I'll watch it. Like it's literally gotten to that point to where like I seriously don't even know if I would watch a Summer Game Fest next year. It's been that
It's
bad.
so boring, and the only reason like you watch it is because like it's a summer show, and
Yeah.
we miss E3, and that's like the closest thing to it.
Yeah, you
And
would.
even though it's nowhere near on the level of what an E3 could be,
Well, you would hope that Summer Game Fest would be the thing to look forward to in the summer. Like that's what you would hope is like, okay, Summer Game Fest, like that show gonna be good in the summer, gonna have, a lot of third party shit there. But really, like I said, it's like, okay, we're gonna have the Xbox show and then we're probably gonna have a direct. Like next year with the Switch 2, like that direct's gonna be great. And then next year Xbox is gonna put on another great show. So like you have that to look forward to, but you're gonna get another shit state of play, and you're gonna get another Summer Game Fest that is 2 hours of nothing.
well, I think we'll see Sony again in the fall. Don't know if that will be like a showcase level event or like another state of play to reveal the PS5 Pro,
I don't
since
think
that's rumored to come out here.
I don't think that Sony has like. I keep seeing everyone saying like, oh, like Sony needs to show these games and shit, but I don't know if like they've got a lot of shit to show. I mean, clearly, like their games are taking a super long time to develop. And that's the problem with Sony's strategy is their games are taking like 7 years at this point. Like 5 to 7 years is an estimate. Like if you want to estimate Sony development times, it's like 5 to 7 years. Like how
That's
can
why I feel like they need to cut back the budgets on like a lot of these big games, single player games that they're doing, and focus on like smaller hits like Astrobot
but they're
and
they're focusing
Helldivers.
on live parties. That's their live parties. Live services. Like
Live service games.
yeah, like that's what they're focusing on. I don't think their audience really wants that. That's the issue. But
I mean, if they can capture like lightning in the bottle, like with Helldivers 2,
I mean, yeah,
but
but
it doesn't look like they're going to do that with Concord.
but if you're a PlayStation fan and you became a PlayStation fan because of The Last of Us and God of War, these live service games aren't speaking to you. And we've heard that like that's where Sony are putting a lot of their efforts is trying to get like live service games and shit. So I don't know, like
They want to compete with like the Fortnite crowd and uh, the Call of Duty crowd. Like they want their own big successful live service games. And I guess they kind of got that with Helldivers too. But I
I mean
I don't
I
think
don't know like
Concord's going to be that great.
no probably not. I don't know like I don't know the player numbers for Helldivers and I don't know like the longevity of that, but like I don't know like what's Bluepoint been doing for all these years? You know,
Bluepoint is working on an original title.
I mean they've been saying that for 4 years now.
Yeah,
Like why have they not showed anything? Why have Sucker Punch? Why have they not showed anything? Why has Santa Monica, the the team that's led by Corey Barlog that's supposed to be working on a new IP, where are they at? Why have they not showed anything? Like, are you really going to tell me that none of this shit is ready? Like,
I feel
surely,
like they have to have something
that's
like
what I'm saying. Like,
soon.
I feel like there's something that, like, we don't know. Because it just feels too weird to me that, like, because it seems like Sony had a shift in strategy where they wanted to go after the live service crowd because like even Naughty Dog wasn't safe from this because they were put on the Last of Us multiplayer and that got canned. So like, is there something we don't know? Like, have these studios have their projects been kind of reshuffled? And it's like, no, you need to work on live service things with multiplayer in mind. I don't know, but surely like they acquired Bluepoint in like 2019 or 2020. You're telling me they don't have anything ready? Like they can't show anything? Like what are they what are they waiting on? Like
Like how far along Naughty Dog's next game is because they was working on um, that multiplayer Last of Us game for a while, and a lot of budget and resources went into that game. So how far along is their next game?
it's
Whether
hard to
it's
tell.
Uncharted, Last of Us 3, or a new IP.
That's what I'm saying though, but like why why is Sucker Punch not ready to show Ghost of you know Tsushima 2? Why is that not a thing? Why have we not seen that already? It's been four
And
years.
what is what has Ben Studio doing? It's been
Yeah,
since 2019 since we've seen uh, Days Gone, a game from them.
that's what I'm saying. So like what are these studios doing? I don't know, but like their state of plays just aren't good anymore. It's just a bunch of filler. Uh,
Everything came out at like the tail end of the PS4 life cycle, and with how their games are, the budgets that their games have, and how long it takes, like it's just it just feels like we're not going to be seeing a lot of PlayStation Studios games until the end of the PS5, maybe.
I just think like if you're a PlayStation fan, that just seems horrible to me.
It
Like
is horrible.
like it just seems horrible. Like okay, like let's wait 6 years for your next game, guys. Like because that's an issue that I have with like modern game development is
It
it's
should be paced better, and that's why like your smaller hits, like your Astrobots, that's where they come into play.
I mean yeah, but like what makes it so hard? Like for me, like what makes it so hard to be a fan of a game? Because like back in the 360, and this isn't the developer's fault, but it's like in the 360 gen, like think about like something like Mass Effect, like a new IP that came out and it was a smash hit, and within 2 to 3 years you got a sequel, and then within another 2 to 3 years the trilogy ended. You've seen a
That is pretty
trilogy
crazy to
happen.
think about.
Yeah, on one console generation you've seen a trilogy happen. Whereas like now, okay, on your PS4 you played Ghost of Tsushima 2, or you played the first one. On your PS5, you're going to play the second one, and on your PS6, you're going to play the third one. That is insane. Like, how can it's just so hard to like be invested in an IP if like, all right, we just beat it. It was amazing. Let's wait 6 years for the next one. It's like that just seems horrible to me.
Games have just become so much more expensive,
And they're so massive, and that's
and
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's
yeah,
not the developer's fault. It's just crazy to me that like on the 360, like you've seen trilogies happen, and now it's like, all right, we got a game from that studio. We'll see you next generation. We'll see what you got. That's crazy to me. But I don't know.
what
Like
did you think about the Nintendo Direct?
I was going to ask you the same thing because I know that you used to be a hardcore Nintendo fan. You're not a hardcore Nintendo fan anymore. Um, you don't
I
hate
mean,
them,
I still
obviously.
like Nintendo, yeah, but I'm I'm just not really playing a lot of their games like I used to. Like they used to be like my primary platform, but I branched out into a lot of other stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I thought the Direct was good. I thought it was like a seven. Uh, I thought they showed some really good games. Um, Dragon Quest III remake that looked great. It's also getting a trilogy remake. Um, I love that HD 2D Octopath style.
Yeah, I do too. It looks so fucking good.
Like that is just really unique for like a remake. I feel I
It
feel
kind of
like
it's like the perfect art style because it kind of caters to both. If you love the classic look, but if you want like a new take on it, it kind of does both at the same time. It looks classic while also looking new. It's honestly
because
beautiful.
not every yeah, because not every remake needs to be like a full 3D remake like Final Fantasy VII and Persona 3. Like it doesn't need to be that. Like I
Yeah.
like how it looks. I love how it looks actually. I've never played Dragon Quest 3, but I'm definitely gonna play this one. And it's
Honestly,
getting a
yeah,
trilogy.
I would love to play it as well. It looks so fucking good. I
Like
mean,
I really hope Square Enix greenlights a Final Fantasy 6 or Final Fantasy 4 or Chrono Trigger remake like this after Dragon Quest 3 comes out.
yeah, I wonder if they're going to save like Final Fantasy 6 or something to be like the next, or if they'll. I don't even know if they'll continue doing seven style remakes. Honestly, considering that the trilogy. I mean, it's not that it's so bad, but like it's not like been the smash hit that I guess they probably. I mean, they probably poured a lot of money into it. I would be interested to learn like what the financials for it is.
Yeah, as I've told you before, like I feel like they wouldn't be having these problems with rebirth sales, and like, well, 16 had lackluster sales also, which I don't know. Like sometimes I see things that you know it was a success in terms of sales for both of them, rebirth and 16. Sometimes I see things that it's not. Uh, but I feel like maybe it would have been better if Square would have just did like one big remake of Final Fantasy VII. I
Yeah,
know that it's really ambitious what they have planned, and there wouldn't be no way that they could get all of this on one disc with their current scope, with the scope that they have for this remake project. But I just feel like maybe that would have been better, like financially, to release just one big remake. Maybe just scale some things back.
maybe they could have
I
scaled back and did like a two-parter.
Yeah, I mean I loved Rebirth and I loved Remake. Some of the best JRPG combat out there. But I wonder if like they are kind of kicking themselves right now, and they didn't do something like that because I feel like that would have been better sales wise.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering. Is like, because after the seven remakes, are they going to save like a Final Fantasy 6 to like go in and do the 7 treatment, or are they just going to look and say like, hey, like we can just do the HD 2D shit? Like,
Well, Katase has already said that like that would take 20 years, which that's probably definitely an exaggeration, but I don't know if they will do that with Final Fantasy VI. I don't think they will give it like the 7 remake treatment. I think they'll just do like the HD 2D if they do remake it.
yeah, I think after the 7 remakes, they'll probably not do that again. I
But
think this will only be a one-time thing. I don't think they'll remake any of the other games this way.
but back to the Nintendo Direct. Yeah, Quest 3 looked great. What else did they show? Um, a new Mario Party. Mario Party is always fun.
Yeah.
I thought that looked good. Uh, the new Zelda game. I thought it looked okay. I think it's cool that Zelda's a playable character, but the game mechanic of like creating like echoes of like tables and enemies and stuff, that just didn't really look appealing to me.
Yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
thought the Link's Awakening remake, it's in that same art style. It looks good, that art style, but I like Link's Awakening, but I didn't love it. I didn't really love it on the Game Boy either. It's definitely one of the weaker Zelda games. So I don't know if I will pick up the new Zelda game or not.
well,
Because I just thought it looked okay.
yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this. Um, because the show was a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. It was a good
I,
show. It was
I
a good
think it was
direct.
a 7. It was a good direct. I think it was a 7 because, I mean, although they did show some good games, I feel like there was a lot of stuff, and this is a lot of stuff that plagues these directs. There's like a lot of indie games you'll see that doesn't look great, and there's like a lot of
Yeah.
JRPGs that just doesn't really look that great either.
Well, that's the thing. Um, I'll give them an 8 out of 10 simply because I had super low expectations because we all know the Switch 2 is coming, and I kind of just thought this was going to be a bad show. I'll give them credit. You know, they're giving Switch owners content. I'll give them credit. You know, Mario and Luigi RPG, uh, another Donkey Kong Country remake or remaster that doesn't really look different than the other ones. Um,
They have remastered that game. This makes the second time already. They ported it to 3DS, and then they ported it to Switch now.
yeah.
And there's some things that I've seen about Donkey Kong Country on Switch. It doesn't look great. It looks worse than the Wii version,
Can
from
we
what some people are pointing out.
can we not get a new Donkey Kong game? Like,
I I don't know why there hasn't been a new Donkey Kong game. Well, I mean that's Retro's baby,
but like,
and they're working on Prime 4, but they
can
could
nobody do a
pick somebody
spin-off?
else.
Can nobody do something new with Donkey Kong? Like, why has there been nothing? It is honestly baffling to me that there has been nothing new.
You would think that there would be like
Switch 2.
more Donkey Kong stuff because like Donkey Kong, kind of like Mario, he's a versatile character.
He's
Like you
one of their
can put
most
him in
well-known
anything.
characters too.
Yeah,
Like,
and that is a good strength to like Nintendo. I will say on their
oh yeah,
IPs and stuff is like they're really versatile.
and like,
Like you can put
yeah.
Mario in anything, and they could do the same thing with Donkey Kong.
I mean, they have the best IP portfolio. Um, they have household names. Like Donkey Kong is a household name. Why does he not have a new game? That is just crazy to me. Like, if they want to respect the IP, I guess I respect that. They don't want to just pump out trash, but like, man, like, it is just baffling to me. Like, but that's the strength of Donkey Kong, or that's the strength of Nintendo IP is like, you can have a household name like Donkey Kong and just be like, no, we'll just let him rest. We'll let him rest until someone can do something good with that IP. Like we've got other stuff taken care. Like it's honestly insane, like how good they kind of have it with their first party.
I just
But
believe that there hasn't been anything new.
other
I
than
don't
remasters,
other than remasters of Donkey Kong, because like I feel like with the Switch we've seen like a lot of Kirby on Switch,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like
but
why
not Donkey Kong.
why has Nintendo not said to anyone like, hey, like maybe it's literally just like, hey, like Donkey Kong is popular, he's a household name, we can let him rest until we have someone
Yeah,
do something good. Like let's build up some other IP. Let's all like obviously they made a new Animal Crossing on Switch. I
and
mean,
Nintendo kind of does that with their IPs, like you just
yeah,
mentioned. Like they're not really like a lot of stuff doesn't come out about them like with Crunch and stuff.
yeah, which is a good thing.
They delayed like they delayed like Tears of the Kingdom like a whole like Tears of the Kingdom was done in 2022 and they delayed it just for like polishing and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
a similar situation happened with Animal Crossing. So, you know, they're probably just letting Donkey Kong rest until Retro gets done with Prime 4 or something.
I don't know. I just I have a lot to say about this direct, and in particular, I have a lot to say about certain Nintendo things, related things within the media and stuff like that. Um, like I said, I give this show an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a good show. I didn't have no expectations. I thought this show was going to suck
I
because
was going to say something before you got into that.
what was you going to say?
I was just going to talk about Prime 4.
Well, I mean, uh, yeah, okay, we can talk about Prime 4. What was your thoughts on Prime 4?
I thought Prime 4 looked really good. I mean, it's good to see it again after it's been like 7 years and 17 years from Prime 3 to Prime 4. I feel like they're holding off a little bit more on Prime 4. Like I feel like they could have shown like a lot more with it. Like they could have shown more of the world that Samus was exploring, um, more beams like arm cannon beams and stuff like that, and different visors and stuff, and what's really changed and like improved with from Prime 3 to Prime 4. Um, but it was more so like a teaser reveal again for Prime 4.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Prime 4, and I'm just going to say it. Especially because it's been so long. And I know development restarted. I know. It's not been in development for 7 years technically, because Retro was given it what, 2019, 2020.
27.
Well, it started
I
with
think
Bandai
it was
Namco.
2017.
No,
Oh, did it start with Bandai
yeah,
Namco?
Retro wasn't attached to this originally. That they restarted development.
I was about to look that up because I didn't. I knew that they restarted development, but I didn't know that it was with Bandai Namco.
It was with someone. I'm pretty sure I read a report a long time ago that it was Bandai Namco, but I know for
Which that
sure
is
that
kind of confusing. Like,
yeah,
why wouldn't it with Retro in the first place? Because what was they doing from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze to 2017? Why did they give it to Bandai Namco?
I just think it's weird that like you have the developers of the Prime trilogy and you give it to someone else, and then like a year, 2 years later, you're like, actually, hey, can you please do this? Like, why just not give it to them in the first place? I don't know, but that did happen because um, they had that whole video that they came out with.
Yeah,
They were like, yeah, development has restarted. Giving it to Retro, all that stuff. Um,
I could see them having trust with Bandai Namco because they also let them develop Smash.
but
Well, co-develop Smash, but like
you
that just
have
made no
Retro.
sense. Yeah, that made no sense. I can't give you a logical explanation as to why they did something like that.
I don't know, but anyway, what I was gonna say, I I thought the reveal was pretty underwhelming. Now, granted, I'm from the outside looking in. I've seen you play Prime. I've seen videos about Prime, but I've not played Prime myself. But it's been a while since Prime has been a thing. And I just personally expected that when we seen Prime 4, it was going to be a big leap as opposed to what we've got in the past. But, and maybe this is because the Metroid Prime remake that came out on Switch, it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's Metroid Prime. That's what it looked like to me. It was just, yep, it's Metroid Prime. Different color palette, kind of looks like Halo 5.
You think it looks like Halo 5?
Dude, you
Why?
pull up screenshots that you can see there is a striking similarity between certain missions on Halo 5 and the way Prime 4 looked. Regardless, I just thought it was underwhelming. I mean, we've been waiting 7 years to see Prime 4, and then we get the reveal, and it's Metroid Prime. It's everything that you expect. It's that.
Maybe they're holding out though, Cody,
I hope they are, because if not,
until Switch 2.
oh, I mean, they definitely probably are. I mean, next year they'll probably do a deep dive, and it's like, here's all the cool new things we're doing. I'll tell you what, if not, it's going to be a little worrisome because it
Cause,
was a little underwhelming. I mean, I'm just going to be honest.
because I trust Retro. I mean, I think Retro's a great studio. Prime, first Prime game was a masterpiece. One of the most atmospheric first-person shooters you'll ever play. Metroid Prime 2 and 3 were good games. Not as good as Metroid Prime, the first one. But yeah, then maybe they're holding off until next year.
We'll see. I mean, that was just at least my first impression with it was this looks like everything I expected it to look, and I don't think sometimes you don't want something to deviate completely away. Like obviously, Metroid Prime 4 wasn't going to be like, oh, it's a different game. But
No,
like,
it wasn't going to be a reboot. It was meant
I
to be a
kind of thought that
continuation.
like after so long, like, oh, okay, yeah, like this is like they're taking it to the next level. They've got a lot of new ideas. It's been so long. They've got a ton of new ideas. But I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's Metroid Prime. Everything I seen in Metroid Prime remake, yep, that's it. There it is.
I'll agree with you on that. I do feel like they're holding out because, like I mentioned earlier, like where is all of Samus's new weapons and stuff like that? And I kind of felt like they were showing the intro to the game because all
Very
she
possibly,
had
yeah.
was just her beam cannon. But do you think maybe you kind of feel underwhelmed because you've seen like how good Metroid Prime remastered looks?
I mean, yeah, and also they're working with, dog shit Switch hardware, so what else can they realistically do?
Very dated hardware.
I mean, to be fair, it's very possible this is like a, hey, it's real, it exists, look at it, we're working on it. Like, it's been 7 years, you had to show it at some point.
I
So,
feel
like,
like they kind of like they needed to show it because
yeah,
that is a question at like every Nintendo Direct is where's Metroid Prime 4? Because I remember back then telling you like I would always ask where's the big three? Where's Bayonetta 3? Where's Tears of the Kingdom? Where's Metroid Prime 4? And we finally got Bayonetta 3 and Tears of the Kingdom. And we finally got Metroid Prime 4.
oh, did we get Bayonetta 3? I forgot.
Yeah.
Everyone forgot we got that game. Um, okay. So yeah, like I was saying, I give it an 8 out of 10. Really good show. And obviously last week, oh, it's been over a week at this point, but we got the incredible Xbox show, an amazing masterpiece of a showcase. But as we've all heard, there's an old written rule in the industry that if you show a Zelda game, that just means you automatically win. And you got to take back that trophy that you gave Xbox of having the best summer showcase.
Who was that said that
I
on
don't know,
Twitter?
you know what? I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to say names specifically, but I just want to say there is an annoying bias towards Nintendo that I find extremely infuriating, and it's so fucking annoying. I'm just gonna say it. Listen, I love Nintendo. I have a lot of Nintendo memories. I grew up playing Nintendo games. I own a Switch. I got Breath of the Wild like it was like a month or two after the Switch came out. I got a Switch. I got Breath of the Wild. I loved it. I got Super Mario Odyssey when it launched. An amazing game. I love Nintendo. But there is an extremely annoying thing that I see certain people in the industry that especially when it comes to things like this where like everyone was just so positive about that Xbox show, and it seems like it really eats people alive that like, oh man, they're being positive about Xbox, god damn it, you know. I don't know why like certain people felt the need, certain quote unquote paid professionals who are very big, have a very
Powerful people in the
powerful
industry.
people, big followings. um I don't know why these certain people felt the need that they needed to come out and pull their pants down and take a shit on Xbox because Nintendo had a showcase that showed a goddamn Zelda game. Like, please, like, can you please drop your fucking Zelda and Nintendo bias for a second? You are a paid fucking professional. Like, it is baffling. Why? Okay, even if you thought the Nintendo Direct was a 10 out of 10, awesome. That's all. I have no issues with it. I thought it was a good show. Why come out and direct your tweets towards Xbox? What was the reason for that? There was no reason to do it. You can come out
Ye-
and you can say, "Great show, Nintendo. That was my favorite summer showcase. You showed a lot of stuff that appealed to me. Great. End it there. Go back to doing your fucking job." But you had to, for some reason, include Xbox in your tweet because you just had to. You couldn't stand it that people were very passionate and very happy with that Xbox show. It's just fucking annoying, man.
I know what you're talking about because I've seen it too. And like you could have like a personal preference, like, hey, I think the Nintendo Direct was better than the Xbox Showcase because more of the games appealed to me. I'm like a lifelong Nintendo fan. Uh, you could say stuff like that, like Metroid Prime 4 and Mario and Luigi, like that appealed to you personally. But like when it was a little uncalled for, like deliberately attacking Xbox when you have that kind of power in the industry
Yeah, and
and
it's
you
just
have a
like,
following like that. It's really unprofessional and childish and console warish.
but see, that's what's so funny. Because if you call them out on it, for one, this specific person is infamous for blocking you. If you say anything to him that he perceives anything like, if there's a hint of negative in your tweet, he's going to block you. We all know who I'm talking about. If you're watching this and you're in the gaming, community, you know who the fuck I'm talking about. He will block you. It's so funny because if you come back at him and you say, "Dude, like, why bring Xbox into it? Why talk about Xbox?" He'll say you're a fanboy. He say you're being a fanboy. He's just talking about games when it's actually the opposite. He's being a fanboy. He clearly is showing his bias and the fact that he doesn't like Xbox that much and that he's making it a point to attack them and also call out studio closures, which is, again, we all
Yeah, I
recognize.
was about to bring that up. Like he even went a step further and brought up like studio closures.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, well, we don't have to worry about which studios are closed. Well, you know what? Nintendo is not some innocent fucking angel. Upload one of your favorite Nintendo songs to YouTube and see how long your fucking channel lasts. All right, yeah, I'm gonna hold off here, but I just think it's really unprofessional. And this is why, like, when I see people say like that they don't like gaming journalists and they don't take gaming journalism seriously, honestly, I kind of have to agree because these are the people that are supposed to be paid professionals. These are the people that are supposed to remove their bias and look at things fairly and critically, but they don't do it because, and I might piss some people off here. I've talked to you about this before, but I'm just gonna say it. Sometimes Nintendo games get a little more praise than they should. And in particular, I'm gonna call out an infamous one last year, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. 97 on Metacritic. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if something is 97 on Metacritic, that means that it is this close. And I'm doing the thing with my fingers where it's like you can't even see space between them because you're saying it's that close to being perfect. But I find it funny that other developers, they get their face shit on if they have performance issues in their games, if they reuse assets, but yet all of these paid professionals forgot to mention that Tears of the Kingdom runs like ass. They didn't mention that it reuses most of the same map from the first game. There's no graphical leap, there's no graphical upgrades. What's your thoughts on that, Skylar? Because I know you've talked about the performance issues in that. Um, I just find it kind of funny. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was
I'm not
kind
saying
of
that.
funny games.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Tears of the Kingdom is a bad game. I'm not trying to attack it. I'm just saying I think it's very clear that certain companies, these games aren't reviewed fairly. It's kind of just like you review them almost like you're a fan versus like, okay, I'm a critic. I have to look at this fairly. I don't care that this is a new entry in a series that I love, that I've grown up with. Because none of that shit matters when you're a critic. If you're going to be a critic, it doesn't fucking matter that this franchise you grew up with. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Do you
matter.
think that's, that could be like a little bit, that can be easier said than done for most people?
Yes, but
Like, even if you are a critic?
but you're being paid to do it. And the thing is like people might say, "Why do you care? Why do you care? Who cares? It's just their opinion." It's not just their opinion. That's the issue. Because these people have a direct influence over other people's opinion and over their biases and over what they think. They will speak with their wallet just simply based off what you say. So it is a big deal. And when you're shitting on a game over here for saying that it runs like shit, and then you've got people that are going
Still
to
there?
read that, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. What I was saying is, when you've got people shitting on this game, saying that the performance is shit, and then people see that and they're like, oh, I'm not going to buy this. But then you don't talk about that same thing over here in Zelda, and you give it a 10 out of 10. Like, does performance matter in games or does it not? Because you've got
Yes,
to
it
make.
does.
Okay, well then apparently not, because nobody mentioned that in the reviews, or if they did mention it, they didn't take points away, because it got a goddamn 97 on Metacritic.
I will say about Tears of the Kingdom, you asked me earlier what my thoughts on it was. Um, I liked a lot of the new mechanics that Nintendo introduced with Tears of the Kingdom. I like the Ultra Hand mechanic, and I know you brought up before that that's awfully similar to Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts and what Rare did back in 2008.
Hmm.
Uh, I thought Nintendo done a really good job on that mechanic. Like Rare might have had the concept for it, but Nintendo executed it really, really well. That was a great mechanic. That wasn't even my favorite mechanic in that game. I like um, the fuse mechanic. Like you can fuse anything to a sword, or you can fuse like a bomb barrel to a shield, and then like go to shield surf off of it, and then you can just like fly through the air. A lot of these mechanics, like they take the physics from Breath of the Wild and like what crazy things people were doing in Breath of the Wild that you've seen on Reddit, and they just made like full blown mechanics out of that, and it's really awesome. but they did have really bad performance issues, especially the ultra handability. And it really showed like the Switch showing its age. And there should have been points docked for that.
And I mean you're a Zelda fan, and I know you even struggled to like find motivation to play that game.
Yeah, I did because I did a lot of stuff in Breath of the Wild. And it does reuse most of the map for the most part. And, you know, you are like doing shrines again and stuff like that. Even though it is, new with the mechanics and stuff like that, the new gameplay mechanics. I just don't know if I wanted to go back and do all of that again.
I mean that's the reason I didn't play it. I loved Breath of the Wild. I seen Tears of the Kingdom and I was like, that looks like a lot of what I did in the first game.
Yeah, and for the most part, it kind of was a lot like you done in the first game. They did like expand some new areas with like the Sky Islands and underground and stuff. Um, and I know the underground of Hyrule was unique because like you could throw what was it? Shit, I forgot what it was. Uh,
Something.
it was something. I forgot what it was. It's been a while since I played Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, there should have been points docked for
Well,
some things on Tears of the Kingdom. I will agree with you on that.
yeah, I mean that's my only issue. It like had the game scored 92, okay. 90, okay. You loved the game, but you had serious issues with performance. Because right now in game journalism, there's not consistency, and that's my biggest issue with it. If performance doesn't matter in Tears of the Kingdom, then performance doesn't matter in any of the other games you play. And I've personally watched reviews and read reviews where performance is a major talking point. The performance in this game hurt my experience. It was hard to play in certain areas, and points were docked because your performance was bad. But for some reason in Tears of the Kingdom it didn't matter. I've seen points docked for assets being reused, and you know, I've seen games, where people have said, "Hey, that this didn't feel new because there was so much that was reused." But for some reason, again, that wasn't mentioned in Tears of the Kingdom. Nobody mentioned the fact that the map was the same and there's shrines, and it just generally, if you showed that to someone and said this is Breath of the Wild DLC, they would believe you because that's really what it looks like. It just looks like Breath of the Wild DLC. I just find it funny. And I think when things like this happen with what I'm talking about, with these certain people in the industry who have big followings saying things like this, I think it shows that, like, okay, yeah, Nintendo, especially with that franchise and with certain other ones, they can just do no wrong. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day what they do. They can, like, again, if you loved the direct, you loved it. But there was a lot of filler in that show. There was a lot. And again, I'm not someone who hated the show. I thought it was good. I thought there was a lot of good shit in it. But there was also a lot of fucking filler. There was a Funko game, that the Funko Pops game, that looked like complete dog shit. Like there was a lot of shit in that show that you will forget about and that you will never play. So I just wish, as games media, I wish that we'd be more fair and that we would treat everything the same. Like I said, Halo, for instance, is my favorite franchise. But if I worked at IGN and it was my job to review Halo, I can't go into it. Oh my god, this is my favorite franchise. Oh my god, like I grew up playing Halo. I have to review the next Halo fairly. What does Halo do as a new product? What does this game do? Does its ideas come across good? You know, performance, got to judge that performance, got to judge all areas of it fairly. And then I've got to come up with a good and fair score for that game. And it has nothing to do with my love of Halo 3 and Halo 2 and all those games. Like, it doesn't matter. And I just want to talk about it because I think it's a serious issue in the games world, if you will. I think that
Yeah.
I think it's a serious thing that needs to be looked at. We've got to do a better job of just being fair. Listen, we all love Nintendo. Nintendo got a lot of people into games, and that's awesome. But that
And
doesn't mean
Nintendo has made a lot of like groundbreaking games.
absolutely, absolutely. But just because they have doesn't mean that we don't look at their products fairly as a critic and review it as such. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And just because they show a Zelda game doesn't mean they win the Summer Showcase. That's all. I also want to say that because for one, I thought the game looked good. I didn't think it looked amazing. And just because it's a Zelda game doesn't mean that they win. Because again, there was a lot of filler in that show. The closer, Metroid Prime 4, kind of underwhelmed. They open with Mario and Luigi, which is cool, but you know, it is what it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It was a good direct. It wasn't amazing. Let's not pretend that it was. It was good. Um, but the Xbox show, you know, constant like hit after hit, big games, a lot of cool indie things in there. There was not really like moments where the show was dragged down. Even with games like Elder Scrolls Online, they didn't overstay their welcome. They had a little segment and then they moved on. I just thought pacing, big games, games delivering, good closer, good opener, everything great.
Yeah, the Xbox show was great. And that's been like a lot of my issues with not even just this direct, but a lot of directs in general. Like they have just a lot of indies and like a lot of not even good looking indies and like a lot of these JRPGs that doesn't even look great. And like, I've seen people like Donkey complain about that. And Donkey's like even a really big Nintendo fan.
Yeah. I mean, it's like even if you love Nintendo, it's okay to be fair. You know, it's okay to like
Yeah.
not everything they do is perfect. They are a company at the end of the day. I agree that they've done a way better job at you know not enforcing crunch and you know, but again, Nintendo also does a lot of shady shit. You know, like I said, if you get a Nintendo tattoo, they're going to sue you. You know, so like they're not perfect. You know, they're a great example for other places to follow. I agree, but you know, it that doesn't mean that you don't judge their games any differently than anyone else. But yeah, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that's about all I have to say about the summer showcase season. I miss E3. Uh, I thought Xbox had the best show, and I thought the direct was good. Uh, but overall, just the summer showcase in general was very underwhelming.
It was. Yeah, it was really underwhelming.
All
The
right.
Xbox show is great. The direct was good. State of Play sucked, and Summer
Yeah.
Games Fest sucked.
I even forgot to mention the state of play. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.